But also what you're saying about the lotions or whatever, the face, both the instances are really helping you be conscious about your money. So whether you're like your husband felt good about not spending it and you felt good about spending it, and it all comes back to how you feel.
Yes.
Where a lot of people get the high, like the high from shopping and then they get the low from the bill, right?
Yeah.
Where this me money is a win-win.
It's a win-win. And it works for, I mean, I haven't found a money personality that it doesn't work for yet. And I feel like if there is, it's because they need actual therapy.
Yeah.
I mean, I could be wrong.
We all need actual therapy.
But yeah, like it because it gives so much intention, it works for whatever your mindset or your emotions are around money. It just makes you more aware.
Hello, uplifters, beautiful people and leaders. It's Michele Phillips, and we have another episode of Write Your Outcome. And today is one of my favorite topics, and it might not be yours. So we're going to talk about the mindset around money. Woo, what a big topic that we could probably be going on for days and days. Today with me, I have Linda Grizely, who is a certified financial planner. I'm going to read her bio so I don't do discredit to her credentials. But welcome, Linda. I'm very excited to have this conversation with you today.
Thanks, Michele. I'm looking forward to this conversation and I'm glad to be here.
Linda Grizely is a financial educator, keynote speaker, and dry humor realist. I love it. On a mission to help women stop putting themselves last financially and emotionally. Linda blends her background in financial planning with lived experiences, soulful honesty, and just enough Gen X sarcasm to keep it real. After becoming a single mom at 16 and later rebuilding her life post-divorce, Linda knows what it feels like to feel behind and what it takes to start again. Her core belief, you can't budget your whole life if you don't start with yourself, which prompted the creation of her signature keynote. Love this title. You can't build a life on a budget you hate. This belief led her to create MeMoney, a mindset-first framework that flips traditional budgeting from guilt and scarcity to clarity and self-prioritization. As a certified financial professional with a master's degree in financial services and a career background that spans holistic financial planning, business strategy, leadership, marketing, human resources, and sales, Linda brings a wide lens to this topic. So welcome, Linda. Let's dig into this juicy topic that makes so many of us uncomfortable.
Yes, money it's a thing that nobody wants to talk about that everybody should be talking about.
Yeah, it's so crazy. So, I mean, I just read a lot in your bio. You know, a mom at 16, divorced, we keep reinventing ourselves. What was the defining moment? Now, this podcast is called Write Your Outcome, which always means that no matter what life circumstances come to you, you can rewrite or write your new outcome. So what was the defining moment, or one of the defining moments? It sounds like you've had so many that motivated you to write a new story for yourself.
Yeah, I've had so many. I have reinvented myself on several occasions. Even just, being a teenage mom and finding out that you're pregnant is just like, okay, I need to reinvent myself. Like so I started this from an early age, the reinvention process. But the most recent journey, it started after I was divorced. So I was a single teen mom for a while. Then I got married at 22 and I was married for 23 years. So after being married for over half of my life, I had to figure it all out all over again. I had to get a real job. I had to sell a business that I started that was like my baby, that I loved, that was bringing me a lot of joy, but wasn't bringing in enough money. Yeah. I landed a job that I thought was going to be my dream job, and it ended up being toxic. And not only that, I wasn't making enough money to survive. I was going backwards. So really I start here, even though there's a few shifts along the way. There's a few just sharp turns in the road. But I start there because that's really when my true growth process started. When I was working in this job that I that I thought I would love. And I actually loved the job. It was just the circumstances that I was in were not good. And I quit that job and I went back to school. And this is the biggest thing is like, I never thought that I would be able to get a bachelor's degree. I never thought that it was something that was for me that I could do. There was no way I was ever going to be able to afford it. There was no way I was ever going to be able to fit it into my life. And when I realized that was part of what was holding me back when I was looking for jobs like under the radar, just trying to apply. And this is probably maybe 11 years ago now, or no, this was actually, oh my gosh. Yeah. I don't know, 2016, however many years ago that is. And it's 11 years, right? You're talking about money. I can't even do simple math. So I was in this space where I was like trying to find a job under the radar, but I couldn't check a box. So I wasn't getting any interviews because I couldn't talk to people. And then I even got an interview because someone said, hey, I'm the boss and I want you to come and work for me. But then when I talked to the recruiter, she said, I can't give you the job because you don't have a bachelor's degree. And I was like, this is really holding me back. So
let me stop you there because
go ahead.
This is the belief, right? The belief. I love how you unwound this. It's the belief that I'm never going to have a bachelor's. I'm never going to afford it, nor am I going to find the time. So those three, I mean, anyone listening can probably, time, money, belief. So what started to shift for you, or how did you get the bachelor's? What was the next step for you?
So what shifted was in my head, I said to myself, I said like something big needs to happen for my life to be on the path that I want it to be, because it's not on the path that I want it to be. And I need something major. I need something big. So I quit my job. I took out a home equity loan and I cashed in a retirement fund. Now, I wasn't a financial planner then. I don't know if a client came to me and said that they were going to do this, what I would say, I probably would be like, hold on just a minute. But I just did it. I just like jumped off a cliff. It was like, I'm doing this. And I'm telling you what, I was on a mission. I took 11 classes at 4 different schools in my first semester.
Oh my gosh, that's a lot.
It is a lot because I was trying to finish up also a certificate that had been already working on that I had started. I wanted to finish that. And I wanted to get my bachelor's degree, and I decided to get a double major. And I wanted to have it all done in a year because I'm like, all right, like things are going to get real because I don't have no income and I just cashed in my retirement fund and took out a home equity loan. Like, this is a big deal. But I knew that something drastic needed to happen. And one of the things, if you know about finances, you talk about money, there's good debt and bad debt. And at the time, I was lucky enough to have equity in my home. And to me, taking out a home equity loan was an investment in myself. So to me, that wasn't bad debt. That was good debt, because the idea is that this money I'm borrowing is going to level me up. So it was leverage, literally, like to get me to the next level. So from that point, I finished up my degree and I was trying to figure out what was next. And I was looking for a job in non-for-profits because I wanted to have a really big impact. I wanted to help people. And I was going through like months-long interviews and all kinds of things. And I was started in a chartered advisor in philanthropy course because, again, I'm just adding things to stack my resume. And once I did that, I started talking to recruiters from financial services. That's how I ended up in the financial services industry. And I'm sorry, this is such a long story, but it talks about like, creating your own path and like finding your own place. During this time, a friend of mine invited me to a mastermind of one of John Maxwell's books, The 21 Laws of Leadership. And I was like, okay, like I'm on this personal growth journey, whatever, I'll come and I'll, check it out. And I've got anything better to do right now. And I need to network. And I had, what I'm saying? Like, I was like, okay, like I'm just still like trying to figure things out. Okay, so here's my next pivotal moment. I'm in this mastermind and I'm in a group of different people, right? There are people who are I'm working on personal growth in the sense that I'm adding like things to my resume, a bachelor's degree, a certificate in this, a certificate in that. Like I'm like adding all these things, but in that room talking to people, another light bulb went off and I realized that I needed to look inside of myself and understand internally what was going on in my head and also better understand other people in order to do the work that I needed to do to change my mindset. So my educational journey in my like, hey, I need to make a big change and figure this out collided with this personal growth on the sense that like I need introspection. And it was from there, it was just like boom. And I was off on this whole thing. I'm going to become a financial advisor. I'm going to help people. And I am like learning about how I think, how people think, what my mindset is around money. Why was I stuck in this job? How did I end up there? Why wasn't I making progress? I'm this super smart, sorry, I'm bragging, super smart person who has all these great soft skills and abilities, but I'm still like held back. I'm still not in the spaces that I should be in.
Let me stop you. This is so good because there's so many good things I want to.
There's a bunch, yeah.
Package. Anyone listening, it's first of all, you're never stuck if you're willing to take that big step and mortgaging the house, taking out the home equity loan, whatever. That's a big step, right? Also, committing to something. She committed. So, what's the big step you can take? What are you committed to? Then she followed the signs. If you don't believe in that stuff, that's on you. But the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, puts people and things in your path. My journey was very similar. And this woman showed up and said, come to this mastermind. And she stayed open, which is the fourth thing I want. So we've got take a big step, make a commitment, stay open. I don't know, I forget, follow the signs, right? So there's a lot of things there that you did, Linda, that I love. And, I always say that our paths are being laid out for us every single moment of every single day. But usually we have our head on our phone or our computer and we don't see the birds in the sky and the opportunity and the beautiful people in our path. And, by you staying open, and I'm a big mastermind person. I started masterminds many, many years ago. Gosh, when I read Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, the power of it's behind you. Yeah, the power of mastermind, the power of and then she realized, I'm a smart person. That's what I love. I don't want you to brag. No, you're a smart person. I'm an intelligent woman who has a lot of skills that I'm not utilizing. So again, everyone listening to us, you all have something to offer. So I love that you did this. And I love the title of your, I put it over here, your keynote, because I want to jump to that a little bit. So you go back to school, you get your degree, you're now combining personal development, self-development, personal development with finance. And then you have this great keynote called You Can't Build a Life You Love on a Budget You Hate. Can you bring us a little deeper into the meaning behind that?
Yeah. So the keynote actually revolves around my financial concept of MeMoney, which is about putting yourself on your budget as a line item. So working with clients in financial planning, one of the first things that you do when you're asking them what assets they have, what debt they have, like you're putting together that, but you're also talking about cash flow because that's a big part of it. What do you have coming in and what do you have going out? And so in that process, you're working on their budget, even though you're calling it cash flow, like you're figuring out what all of their expenses are. And then you're figuring out what they have come in and what's the difference and whatever. And in that process, you might put things on there like, oh, this is what we spend on vacations. This is what we spend going out to eat. And that part is you. But there's never a spot that's just like, this is for me and for me only. And that is the idea. So because if you build your budget around all of your expenses and you never put yourself on it, even if you're counting like a vacation and going out to eat as an expense and you're listing that, they're still not you. What about all those other things that fill you up, that give you joy, that might be impulse buys or can help you in other ways, right?
Can you give us an example of a me expense?
Yeah. So let me go back to how MeMoney originated, right? So it actually started because I put my husband on a budget. So I didn't implement this with clients at first. At first, it was in my own household. So My husband, we're second marriages, so we have blended family. And we got married when we were older, right? So we're not like building whatever. We're just, I mean, we are, but you know what I'm saying? Like it's different when you're older and you have blended families. Like you've already been around the block a few times. So I finally said to him, like, I'm going to put you on a budget. I'm going to give you this much money and you're going to have to live off of that much money, because he was just spending money and I handle the finances because I'm the financial advisor, or I was. So I'm like, you have no idea how much money you're spending. And he would say like, oh, I go on fishing trips and they don't really cost that much. You know, I split a cabin with the guys. And I'm like, dude, you have a boat and a trailer and you pay for gas and you pay for licenses. And like, this is not just
as they say.
So I'm like, okay. So I'm like, I'm going to give you this much money and then you're going to have to live within that much money. And you have to save up every month when you get your money so that when you have your trip come, you can pay for your trip. So you can't just spend all your money. He's like, okay, whatever. He's like, you're giving me an allowance, you know? And I'm like, yep, I'm giving you an allowance. He's like, well, do you get an allowance? I said, yeah, fine. I will give myself the same amount. Like we live under the same roof, right? Same lifestyle, same roof. Doesn't matter who makes more money. We have the same life. So we're going to give each other, I'm going to take the same amount of money. But here's what happened. I asked him like a little while later, I said, how's it going? And he's like, fine. I'm like, do you feel like you're restricted? Like, because I was really worried that he was just going to feel like I was controlling him. Because the last thing I want to be is the controlling wife, right? I don't want to be that. So I'm like, are you okay? And he's like, yeah, I'm fine. And I like, I'm like, so it's not restricting you. He's like, no, actually, he's like, I'm just making better choices. And I was like, oh, tell me more about that. And he's like, well, for instance, there was this golf shirt that I wanted, and he's got a closet full of more golf shirts than he could ever have, right? Or ever use, I should say. And so he's like, I saw this golf shirt that I wanted. And he's like, but then I was like, oh, do I buy the golf shirt or do I save that money for a golf trip or maybe a new set of golf clubs? Or he's like, so I didn't buy the shirt. And I'm like, how did that make you feel? He's like, fine, because I knew that I would be able to spend it on something better. So it was great for him because he was able to have say, is this worthy of my money, and have intention behind his spending. So it did exactly what I wanted it to. But here's the flip side. I was the one who always would be like, oh, I can't afford to go on a girl's trip, or, oh, I would never pay that much money for that for myself. So I had my MeMoney, and I had these little packets of face stuff that I got from a place that does facials. I was on a wine walk with some friends, like an organized wine walk. And I picked these up and I was like using them. I'm like, these are fantastic. And I'm like, oh, I'd never spend that. And I'm like, wait a minute. Can I? And I was like, I can. And I did. I bought the whole thing. I bought a day and a night and a whole thing. And my face feels amazing. And it's something that I never would have done had I not already set that money aside. Now, here's the difference. I might have bought, let's say that one of the things cost $100. I'm just using easy numbers. I might have bought 10 things for $10 and been able to justify those, but I never would have been able to justify the $100 thing.
Hello, I am interrupting this podcast with 3 surprises for you. I have been in business 25 years this August 2025. So to celebrate and thank you for your support, because I could have not done this without you, my clients, my supporters, my listeners, you have made this possible. I am offering you 3 gifts because 3 is my lucky number. So the first gift is $125 off my signature Happiness is a Habit video series. This video series is 18 videos, about an hour and a half of video content, an 80-page downloadable PDF workbook, normally selling for about $297. Now you can get $125 off. If you go to my website, energizeyourhappiness.com, and click on the icon on the top that says a gift for you, you will see everything you need to get your $125 off this fabulous video series. Secondly, I am offering a free behind the book mini workshop on my new book, which isn't even out yet. Energize Your Happiness. I'm offering only 12, first come, first serve. A couple have already been booked, so they are dwindling quickly. But I will give you in this 45 minutes, if you get a group of people together, I will give you some takeaways that you can implement immediately, and I will host a Q&A. And thirdly, the best thing, drum roll please, I am doing live coaching right here on Write Your Outcome, if you qualify. So if you are interested in being coached live on this show, send me an email at michelle@energizeyourhappiness.com. And in the subject line, write, I want to be coached live on your show. And then tell me a little bit about what you want to be coached on. And if you qualify, we will put you in the queue. So that's 3 gifts for you, 3 fabulous ways to connect. So claim your gifts now, make it a great day, and let's get back to the podcast. Yes. So I see how you're giving both sides of this. So
yeah,
on one hand, we are being marketed to 24/7. And, thanks to online shopping, boom, it's in your cart, boom, it's on your doorstep within 24 hours. It's gotten almost too easy to push a button because you're not actually exchanging money, like cash money, right? You're just pushing buttons and then you get the bill at the end of the month or whatever. But also what you're saying about the lotions or whatever the face kit is, both instances are really helping you be conscious about your money. So whether you're like your husband felt good about not spending it and you felt good about spending it, and it all comes back to how you feel.
Yes.
Where a lot of people get the high, like the high from shopping and then they get the low from the bill.
Yeah.
Where this me money is a win-win.
It's a win-win. And it works for, I haven't found a money personality that it doesn't work for yet. And I feel like if there is, it's because they need actual therapy. Yeah. I could be wrong.
We all need actual therapy.
But yeah, like it because it gives so much intention, it works for whatever your mindset or your emotions are around money. It just makes you more aware. Yeah.
And I find that it's interesting. People that don't have money tend to do the $10 thing. Oh, I'm just going to get this little tchotchke. Like you go on these tchotchke stores, and I think about when I didn't have a lot of money. Right? I would buy these little things. And now that I have money, I go in and I'm like, I don't need any of this. Or even the desire has gone away. But it's it's a feeling. And I think for me, I've dealt with money issues. So I'll tell you my quick story here. So 7 years ago, I moved to the Hamptons. And my husband got a great opportunity we could not refuse. Every money issue I had came bubbling to the surface like a raging dog. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I lived in a very nice area before I moved here, but it was more of a balance of diversity. And then when I moved out here, that the spread between the haves and the have-nots is big. And I would literally go to the post office and say, are they looking at my shoes? Are they looking at my pocketbook? And I really I hired a money coach. So, and to Linda's point, when I got on the phone with my money coach, after the first call I felt like we were in a fight. I was like, I didn't come here for therapy and to go back to my child. All the stuff she brought up about money and my beliefs about money. And I got off the phone and I was like, oh my God, I just paid this woman for this. Like, I want to fire her. But then when I thought about it, I thought, oh my gosh, Michele, I need this. I need to look at my beliefs. I need to look at how my beliefs are manifesting in my feelings. And, and it's been a huge evolution for me. And it wasn't just about the dollars. I have dollars. I have money. I'm not, wanting for anything, but the beliefs I had, and even with my money coach, I was talking one day and she goes, how come you keep saying us and them? There's no us and them. It's just us. I'm like, oh my God, I'm putting them in a different category than I am. So those beliefs that I had to really it was not comfortable, Linda, to look at my beliefs. I grew up, my dad was General Motors, guy. He was in management, but we were, middle class and, I had different beliefs. And then I moved to an area where the term out here, they call them MNOs, which I never heard before. Money, no object people. I'm not one of them, but I still have to know my value and my beliefs are just as valid and important as those other folks. I'm doing us and them again. So where do you start with someone when it comes to the beliefs? Now that I've told you, and now I've bared my soul to you, and I had all these negative or unworthy beliefs that because I didn't have a certain amount. How do you start breaking down the belief part with people, the mindset?
Well, okay. Let me back up before I answer that question. Remind me to come back to that if I get off on a tangent. But I want to talk about the idea that they all have a mindset too, and they all have a money personality. And chances are that there are a lot of them that are heavily in debt because they're trying to be the money no object people. They might not have that money that they are flaunting, right? Because I've met people who have millions of dollars in assets, and they're 75 years old, 80 years old, and they're calling me up and they're saying, how am I doing? Like, I want to go on this trip. Do you think I can do it? And I'm like, you can do whatever you want. And then I have people
it's
who
a mindset.
we're buying a second home. And I'm like, you can barely even afford your first home. What do you mean you're buying a second home? I mean, everybody has a money mindset and their emotions and whatever with money that is so unique to them. So when you're setting yourself in a different category, like you don't even know what category they're really in. They're hiding behind not all of them. Some of them might be really there, but I think I would guess to say that some of them are hiding behind that facade.
Well, and I think it doesn't matter, right? Because I got to deal with me and how I feel. It doesn't matter what their thing is either, right? So I want to feel good about where I am and what I'm doing and my beliefs about myself.
Right. Okay, so going back to your question now about how do you start unpacking it? So so my money mindset course is a little bit different, and I'm rebuilding that. But in the MeMoney course alone, the first thing I do is I have people take a money personality quiz. It's a short little quiz, and it's actually available to anyone. I have it available on my website, but that's the first thing I do. And it identifies 5 different money personality types. And these aren't things that I created. They're out there on the internet. You can just Google money personality types, and they're called different things, but it's all basically the same thing. You have a spender, you have a saver, you have an avoider, you have a risk taker, and you have a security seeker. And they're all different ways that you deal with money. And understanding that is like one of the first steps. And there's no wrong result. If you're a spender, that's not wrong. If you're a saver, that's not wrong. If you're an avoider, that's not wrong. Well, that might be wrong, but but I'm just saying, like, it's not wrong. But you have to understand you, because once you understand you, you'll understand why you do things, how you do things, and maybe why, if you've tried budgeting before, you can't stick to it, and why it doesn't work for you. Because you were never a part of it. It was all something that someone else was telling you should be doing, and it had nothing to do with who you are as a person.
I love it. And the willingness to look at, I love the personalities, because I know which one I am. But being able, I always say the shamans have a saying, name it to tame it. Once I name that this is my money personality, now I can fix it, or I can alter it, or I could do something. And I think that's where so many people are not happy with where they are financially, but they're not looking at what am I doing? What can I do differently? Not only in my actual money, but in my mind, in how I'm feeling about it and how I'm seeing it. And to me, the beliefs and the feelings come before the manifestation, the actual, cold hard cash or money in the bank or whatever you want to do. Because it starts with those early beliefs and those early behaviors. And once if I'm, because saving, everything's in and out. So if I'm spending too much, that's not good. But if I'm saving too much, that's not good either. It's like breathing. If I have to breathe in and out, money goes in and out. And, that belief that for me, I like changing the belief that, it always comes, like it always figures itself out, even through my divorce. When I was, you talk about divorce, living in my girlfriend's bedroom with $5,000 in a sock. Literally, that's where I was. Everything I needed came. Everything got figured out. So they would take this quiz with you or online, and then you would set up a plan for them. what would be the next step?
Okay, so, well, if they take the quiz online, they can just go to my website at, it's lindagriz.com, LINDAGRIZ.com.
And we'll put this in the show notes.
Yeah, okay, great. And then just go to the resources page, and there's a quiz and a bunch of other stuff there too. But they can take the quiz, and that'll get them on my mailing list. And then as I get more content and the course is open, they'll get information on how the course is open and if they want to take it or get in my free community, things like that. So, but that's the best way to get in contact with me right now. And they can. And then,
so now I want to focus on women, because in your bio you talk about helping women more. What's the difference between women and men? Oh, sorry, I just banged my knee. Why women, or what do women do differently than men do, or what can we do better?
So, I mean, I will serve men also. I just market to women and I talk about women, mainly because I've been there and I understand it. But also, I mean, men have a mindset too. We talked about my husband, right? His personality, like they also can feel this way. But the main reason I focus on women is because we're the ones who are afraid to speak up, who are afraid to say, I feel behind, or feel like I should know more by now, or are embarrassed by what we've done in the past or our current money situation. Like, even when people would finally take the step to come talk to me as a financial advisor or financial planner, they would say, like, they would come in and they'd be like, well, I'm retiring soon and I figured I should talk to someone. I'm like, why haven't you talked to anyone sooner? Well, because I never felt like I really deserved it, or that I was qualified, or that I had, like, they have this belief, again, we're talking about like the inner blockages, right? This belief that they're not worthy, or that they're embarrassed about what they've done or what they should be doing because they're not doing all the things that people told them they should be doing, things like that. So
yeah, it's so important for women. When you educate a woman, the woman does really well. And, I've read so many financial books over the years. I'm trying to think of them. I remember reading Smart Women Finish Rich, and I read a lot of Barbara Husson's books, but they've all really opened a door for me. So please take the time to go on Linda's website, take her assessment, and then, and when it comes to money, I always say, like, how am I feeling? How am I feeling? Am I happy with my results? Because it's really your decision, right? Nobody gets to tell you how much you should have, how much you should spend. If we go back to those examples you gave about your husband not spending and then you spending, it all comes back to how you feel around money. So I love that you're combining these two pieces. So what else do you want our listeners to know? I don't want to end right yet. So is there anything specific about what you do, or what you could help women with that you want anyone to know that we haven't touched on yet?
So what I'm building is courses on, the idea is that you'll be able to come at any point in your financial life and do a, like, choose your own adventure type of course. So whether it's the MeMoney or the money mindset or financial foundations, if you're just starting out in building or just want to learn the beginning, and then all the way up to a do-it-yourself financial planning course. So that's what I'm building. And I'll have a community and some group coaching and one-on-one coaching in there too, to be able to help you with that. But if there's any message that I want to send out, it's that it's never too late to decide to build the life you love, right? You just have to make that decision and find people and find resources. And when I did it, my mentors were books. I didn't have any people. I had no mentors for most of my life. And then when I finally got that figured out from that one mastermind group, guess what? I started reading all these books. And if you want one to start with, Think and Grow Rich is a great one.
Yes, books have changed everything for me. I gift Think and Grow Rich to all my nieces and nephews. If you're listening, I hope you read it, because I don't know you're not. I've read it multiple times. So it really comes down to what I'm hearing Linda say is do something. Don't put your head in the sand. Don't wait. One of the first books I read was Prince Charming Isn't Coming, meaning, like, as a woman, don't let the man handle everything for you. You have to know your finances, what's going in, what's going out. You hear these stories, you think they're just on TV, of women that when the husband passes, the woman doesn't know, anything. But I talk to people, financial planners, that tell me that's still a true thing. So anyone listening, it's really looking at where you are. And I love what you're saying too, Linda. What I'm hearing you say is no matter what your income level, you could build a life you love. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
And because I think a lot of people think, oh, I need X amount more. Once I get more. I'm like, no. You get to build the life you love with the income you have right now.
Yeah. Or like when I was not making enough, I did all the things I needed to do in order to make more. You have to make strategic decisions and work toward that. So, but yeah.
Oh, you've given us so many golden nuggets. It's like take a bold move, commit yourself, follow the signs, read. There are so many good books out there. Go take the the money personality assessment. Any final words of wisdom you'd like to leave everybody with?
Stop putting yourself
I
last.
already asked you that, but
that's okay. Stop putting yourself last.
Stop putting yourself last. Yes, I love it. MeMoney. I love it. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. This has been delightful. And I will post all her where to find her. But tell us right now, where's the easiest place for people to find you?
My website, lindagriz.com.
Okay, lindagriz.com. Okay, this is Michele Phillips signing off with another episode of Write Your Outcome.